Hey guys, what is going on? So I just want to give a little update on this Gorilla Shroom product that launched about a week ago. I've gotten a lot of questions about this, a lot of people wanting a review, so I will kind of address some of those questions and my experience with it thus far. But ultimately, I think I need a little bit more time to give like a full review, but I know that this is only going to be the sale price for maybe another week. And so for those of you who have been kind of waiting to see what it's like, this is kind of my first impressions after using it for a little over a week. So basically, I started using this the way that it's recommended on the bottle, which is to take 3 capsules twice a day. And when I was doing that, I noticed some effects to it, but it wasn't necessarily as strong as something like Gorilla Mind Smooth for me in terms of like really being dialed in. And I was kind of a bit disappointed initially. So I decided, with a lot of supplements that I take, usually I don't respond that well to low doses, and instead I have to, take a higher dose. Testosterone is a great example. For those of you who don't know, I took testosterone for almost a month with only 4 capsules, and I noticed absolutely nothing. And then I bumped it up to 6, and it basically like changed my life. So I figured, hey, this could be similar to Gorilla Shroom. Another thing like that happened to me with Gorilla Mind Rush. Like I really responded to the full dose, but not necessarily to a smaller dose. And that's exactly what ended up happening with this. So the cool thing about this relative to something like Smooth is that 6 capsules is a serving, and you get 30 servings in here. Whereas with Smooth, a serving is 3 capsules, but you can take up to 6 for like the full dose. It's kind of like with the pre-workouts, like you can get 40 servings, or you can get the full dose, like 2 scoop, which is 20 servings. So this actually gives you 30 full servings. So it gives you a little bit more value for your money. And I would say at the full 6 capsule serving, I definitely prefer this over Smooth. The thing is, Smooth is something that I've been taking for, quite a long time. And I found that 4 capsules seems to work pretty darn well for me, and I almost never go to 6. This is a habit that I formed because I was taking Smooth long before I was sponsored by Gorilla Mind. So 4 was kind of like this cost-saving method where I didn't have to take the full 6, but I still got some really good effects on 4. Whereas for me, like 3 of this definitely doesn't compare to 4 of Smooth. But 6 of this to me is better than 6 of Smooth, especially when you consider the cost of this, which I think it's like $31 with my code as of right now, but it's probably going to go up in like a week or something because that was just an introductory offer for like a sale price. But anyway, in terms of like the effects and what it really does, it is kind of similar to Smooth in terms of really being dialed in. That being said, I would probably prefer Smooth just in that regard if you really want to do something like potentially studying, or something that I've been doing a lot this last week is really trying to do stuff like online and really get focused. A lot of it has to do with like taxes or figuring out my finances. I have to deal with like a car situation, so a lot of those tasks that you don't want to do, that you kind of have to be dialed in and you're like putting it off, that's kind of what Smooth has been for me. But this kind of applies to that as well if you take the full serving. Now, when I was only taking like 3 capsules, it wasn't nearly as effective for me as Smooth had been in that regard. But this has a couple added benefits for me, especially, considering that full 6 capsule serving. But I find that, it says on the bottle here, creativity. And that's something that I've definitely noticed. So doing a little bit more abstract stuff. I'm not going to get into specific details, but for me, this is kind of something that I would take if I really needed to get something done within like the day, and I had like this tedious task that I had to do and I didn't want my mind to wander. Whereas this is kind of the opposite. Like this is a bit more if I wanted to be more creative. If you are a content creator or something like that, I could understand how this would be extremely beneficial. Or if you're in anything that requires you to have kind of novel ideas, anything along those lines, I noticed that the creativity of this was very present in terms of, boosting that aspect. Whereas with Smooth, much more of kind of this like concrete way of being focused. And then also the endurance factor of this, I assume that is due to the cordyceps. And that's something that I've found. I started taking this pre-workout. So this is something that I've actually taken in the past. I took cordyceps before. I just kind of got out of the habit, but I've taken a lot of mushroom supplements in the past. I've taken lion's mane by itself, which is kind of the main driving ingredient of this supplement. But there's obviously a ton of stuff in here in terms of nootropics, mushrooms, stuff like that. But overall, this, I think the endurance factor and the performance boost in the gym is probably credited to the cordyceps, but I don't really know exactly, just considering there's so much in here. Obviously, it has the, ashwagandha, and just there's so many things in here, but overall, this really, at the full serving, is good for focus. I would say that there's kind of this euphoric sense that kind of similar to taking something like Kratom, if you've ever taken that. Maybe not quite as strong, but this just does so many things at the same time, which just makes me feel really good, but only really super strong. And it's not even that strong of a supplement, but only really like noticeable and really good at the full serving in my experience. So I'm not going to tell you that you should take, 6 at once. If you want to go ahead and take 3 and 3, or however you want to do it, that's up to you. But for me and my tolerance for these things, 6 capsules all at once was very effective for me. 3 and 3, not so much. So definitely recommend this product. I've had a very good experience with it. Again, I don't know exactly when the sale price is going to go away, but I think it was supposed to last like 2 weeks. So this would be the second week of that. Don't quote me on that, but just in case you were looking to pick it up at a cheaper price, I would probably try and do that sooner rather than later. But even so, I would say from a value perspective, this is probably a more affordable, better option than something like Smooth. That being said, Smooth is really good at what it does, and the Alpha GPC is very good for like strength and stuff like that. So they're not entirely the same thing. You can absolutely stack them. That's something that I've yet to try, but I've heard a lot of other athletes say that that's a good combination. So again, I'll probably do a full, review on this. That's a bit more comprehensive, but as of right now, just to kind of potentially take advantage of the sale price while it lasts, I'm putting this out now. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I'll keep you updated, and I'll talk to you soon.